Hi everyone, it's Schalathia Nikole and I'm coming back to you guys with another video. And if you're wondering what kind of lip my lips is by Doll and Pop, all the information will be down in the description bar. Also, a tutorial on this whole makeup look has already been done for you guys. That video will also be linked in the description bar. So I wanted to just come to you guys and do like a recap of my last decade. I know I started doing YouTube videos 13 and 14 and I actually had stopped because I was going through so much transition at that time in my life. Like, it was just ridiculous. But at that time, it was like at a peak where I was actually growing and maturing and then letting go of a lot of dead relationships, and then also trying to figure out myself and who I am and what I want as a woman. So I just wanted to go over the past 10 years. Like, as I was writing everything down, which I did, like I have like note cards on the past 10 years on everything that went down. I'm like, should I read everything one by one? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a lot. Like, as I look over the past decade, I'm like, my life has changed tremendously. I've changed as a person. My friends changed. Everything has completely like transformed and just, I don't even know where to start. So guys, like as I recap over the decade for me, I don't know exactly how long this video is gonna be. It may be like a 3 or 4 part video, but I'm trying not to make it last no longer than 10 minutes. So in 2010, I was 22 years old. I had my own apartment. Like, my mom was working in Iraq for a really big company and she stayed there for 5 years. She'll come home every now and then. I basically had my own apartment. I stayed, well, not I stayed with my brother and my sister, who were younger than me, stayed with me from the time I was like 16, 17. They stayed with me. Like, I literally took care of them. Like, even though my mom will send money and support us financially, I was like the one that was more hands-on, make sure everyone goes to their doctor's appointment, just handling everything. So yeah, I lived in America by myself. My dad was here, but he wasn't like active in my life. So in 2010, my mom came back from Iraq and she moved me and my siblings to Dallas. And that was at the beginning of 2010. And when I got to Dallas, like a few months later, probably not even a few months later, probably like a month later, I found out I was pregnant. So I'm like, I'm 22 and I just left my boyfriend in Houston, had a whole apartment, and now I'm pregnant. So shortly after, I told him that I had a miscarriage. So sadly to say, the relationship, I was like, you know what, I'm done with everything. I'm taking a break. I had the worst experience of my life in 2010. And so in 2011, I was 23. I bought my first car. Then at 23, I started my college career. I was going to school for business management. Me and my family became homeless in Dallas after a whole year. And if you would like to know the story on how we became homeless, you can comment down below and I will give you the whole. In 2012, I was doing really good in college. I got on the dean's list, and in 2012, I decided to move back to Houston with my boyfriend at the time and decided to live with him and his mom. Yeah, as soon as I moved there, I probably was there like a month or two and everything went south. I moved out, I got my own place after that. I could not deal. 2012, beginning of 2013 is when I actually started YouTube. If you actually go back to my videos, like you will see like me in one setting and then in the beginning and then another setting. So that's when I was actually transitioning from his mom's house to my own apartment. And so in 2013, life started to get very real for me because I'm on my own. I'm 25 years old. I live in Houston. My family is in Dallas still. Yeah, so it was me and just my boyfriend's family, you know, that I leaned on for support. I started to figure out, like, do I really want to be in a relationship? Like, because if someone's mom don't approve of you and they're a completely different religion than you, like, how do you make that work in a marriage? And it always was a question that always came up, because my faith is very important to me. So yeah, eventually me and him broke up after 7 years. We dated from high school all the way up into adulthood, and then he started to change, I started to change. I started to like not want to compromise on certain things. Like, I feel like at this point in time I really was settling in on what I really wanted for my life as a woman and as a future wife. So shortly after we broke up, I lost my job. I got laid off, and so I moved in with one of my friends from church, and during that time I was really just doing some self-reflection, because at the end of the day, everything that you do, every relationship, every situation, the common denominator is always you. And so most likely it's something to do with you why things isn't going right in your life. Like, you're making the wrong decisions or making the wrong friends in the wrong relationships. So I really had to sit back and be like, okay, what am I doing wrong in my life to keep getting the same result? Like, this is the second time in less than 2 years homeless. Like, what's going on? Like, this is like a cycle, and I started to realize that it was a cycle. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go in these cycles. I don't want to go in the cycle of a relationship that's not going anywhere. So I was like, during this time, I'm just gonna truly get my heart and mind together and give it to God. And so at the time I was completely broken, simply because after me and him broke up, he shortly got married, like less than 6 months. So in 2014, I decided to take a break to get baptized, simply because I needed just a spiritual refreshing, like, of everything. And I had got a new job working at a call center. In 2014, I dated, but the relationships never went anywhere. I basically kind of knew, like, some of these relationships I was getting in, like, oh, it's not going nowhere, so I just end them really fast, or they'll end them really fast. Because I was also praying at the time, like, God, I do not want to waste my time. I'm so tired of being used and abused and people just taking me for granted. So I said I was gonna stop dating. And also in 2014 was the first time I ever flew on an airplane. Around the end of 2014, going to 2015, I was like, you know what, I'm going to rededicate my life to God, and this time I'm so serious. Like, I am not going to let anyone get in the way of what I'm trying to do for my life. And so in 2015, I'm 27 years old. My grandmother passes away, like, suddenly. It was a shock to everyone. I really started to reevaluate my life, like, in a whole nother way that I've never did before. It really woke me up, like, this is real life, like, get yourself together. I didn't want to walk or wake up every day living my life not knowing exactly what my purpose was and what I was going to do. Like, so that time I decided to rededicate my life to Christ and not date anyone or even have sex until marriage. So it was a really huge commitment for me, and I was really willing to go through the whole whatever I had to go through, no matter how long I had to wait, so that God's will be done in my life and not have to be quote unquote remembered for that person who just never got it right, you know? So in 2015, I got accepted to Paul Mitchell, the school, Houston. Oh my God. So in less than a month of being in Paul Mitchell, the school, Houston, I got invited to do makeup at New York Fashion Week for Rocky Boston. Like, just looking over my life, I had a lot of why me's, and like me, little old shade from the country, me, like, it's so many people that's more talented than me that I feel like they were more qualified than me to go to do New York Fashion Week. 2016, I'm 28 years old, and I continue to attend Paul Mitchell School, Houston. I tried to date, but it wasn't successful. After about a year of being single, a year and a half being single, I was like, let me try this dating thing again, and it was a total bust. Like, my mom came to me and she was like, you don't need to date anymore. So in November 2016, I met my husband at my new church. I really want to give you the backstory, but if you want to hear the backstory on how we met and how it was ordained, like, comment below, like this video, let me know, because it's juicy. Okay, so in 2017, I'm 29 years old. I got married in February. We paid off our first car together. I graduated from Paul Mitchell, the school, Houston, and my first nephew was born on Valentine's Day. At that time, I started to work at home. I had an at-home salon. I did lots of photo shoots, events, fashion shows. I did makeup classes. I was actually published in a magazine in 2017. 2018, I started college again after a long break. I just took a few classes, and my little brother got married. 2019, my husband gets me a Benz for our anniversary. It was a very blessed year, I would say, because my husband graduated with his master's. And in less than 3 months, like, we got a job offer and they relocated us to. So here we are, 2020. We're in Arizona. So now that it's 2020, and I just did a full recap on a few events in my life. I'm sure there were so many more great memories that I had during those years that I wasn't able to actually just go into detail about every little thing, but those were the main things that stood out to me. But if I go through my photos, my videos, I'm sure I find a lot more, but I just want to keep everything short and sweet for you guys. But after going over a whole recap of my last decade, I realized that God's hand, like, even through the pain, even through like the aggravation, the lonely nights, the everything, like, God's hand is always like moving on your behalf. It's crazy how, as I look over the past decade, like, how much my life has changed, and we just need to let God's will be done, like, in our lives. At the end of my videos, sometimes I'll put this scripture, Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those that love God and are called according to his purpose. So that is a scripture that I truly, truly live by, and it's just to remind me that, like, everything works out for the good. Even the bad works out for your good. So at the end of the day, don't sweat the big things. Like, let God worry about all the details of your life. Thank you guys for watching my video. I look forward to sharing more of my life and more beauty tips with you guys. I'm so happy to be back.